All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate ship-shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of meat in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll dig up a great deal for you.
Eye patch and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
All right. Fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back. We're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound. Metal detecting and treasure hunting. Or finding. I don't know. Radio, live stream, video feed, podcast, whatever you want to call it. We're here. We're back again. That's the way it goes. Let's see here. Drop in over to the YouTube side. See what's going on. See that Mike's in. Steve Pacifico in the house. Barks Detecting. Welcome aboard to Kevin and the other folks. Let's see. I had to throw this together very last minute. I'm actually still working on getting things up and running here. So let's see here. We'll see if Chuck's in. We'll get him in. How's it going?
It's going well. What's going on tonight? I see the crew's coming together here. Got a good bunch in. Barks is in. Barb, you getting any of that nasty wet weather out there? They said you got some nasty stuff up through your area, even with that hurricane slamming the coastal line. So, looked like a good crew. Yeah. Anybody been getting out? Anybody finding something good? I haven't had a chance to look at many posts.
I don't think Barb's getting any of that,
Oh,
any
she
of the
said-
rain.
Good. Good.
I don't know if she's considering that a good thing or not.
I don't either. Hey,
'Cause
Frank Wilkins is in the house. Hey, Frankie. Boy, you're getting a crew together tonight.
Wow, nice. I'm trying to tie up some loose ends over here real quick on one side of things, and then I can get back to the YouTube chat and see what's going on.
Well, your audio's doing good tonight. That's a good thing. That's a good.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Definitely.
Yeah. We'll take that lower temp there, Shannon. It's really nice. It's really nice. Spent the day working on trucks all day, and then one of our own, Mary Beth Eggers, came back from the hospital. One of our firefighters in the locale had severe injuries during a fire. I think it was a lightning strike caused fire in a tree next to a house. They got out there, they put it out, they were checking it, and a large limb came down and got her, a very large limb. And she's been in for nearly a month now, and she got home today. She's still pretty sore. She had multiple injuries from that. And we went down and met her in force.
Yeah, actually, we caught that go live, and that was very cool to see. Very commendable to do like this welcome home parade sort of thing for them.
No, they had a reporter in the car with her, and they had that on the news tonight. And she broke down a bit in tears and was thankful for us all to be there. And she's on the mend. She's on the mend. She's got a ways to go. I mean, she had a crushed hip, and she had 6 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and 2 lower vertebrae were cracked, and they wired her up and nuts and bolts, and they got her to the point she can't put weight on the right leg yet, but she's having a good turnaround. That's good.
Right? Yeah. And the thing that got me with it, and this just goes to show how community-minded, community-oriented, community interaction that you guys have in your area. Because for your area, what is the population?
Well, the further you get away from Rapid City, Port Byron, out to Cordova, it's considered rural for the most part. And Rapid City, Port Byron might, between the two of them, have 3,800. Cordova in town has 700. Then we got another about 1,000 out in the district, somewhere in that range. A lot of heavy industry on our end. A lot of people checking in all the time. They support all our local departments, and the people are close knit, and we train, practice together all the time, and have some fun together. And we don't want to see any of us get hurt. And that was kind of a freaky thing to have happen. They stepped in looking up to see if, the job was complete, and it was windy, and it snapped a rather large limb, and it got her, just missing 2 others also. So,
yeah, I mean, and you never want to see one of your own go down anyway. I mean, because
no, you don't. You don't want to see that.
You're right there on the front line.
Yeah,
your crew are the ones that are running to the danger while everyone else is running away, basically. Right. And for the size of Cordova, and just to put that into perspective, here, our population is over 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's just in our town, around our glowing mud puddle. And our department, if I remember correctly, is the only full-time department in the county.
Yep.
And we're dangerously understaffed. We're almost to the point where we can't even do 2 men.
Yep.
And when you get that low, that has many different repercussions because that could reflect on your homeowner's insurance and things like that. Not to mention, you may not get the assistance you need when you need it.
Right.
And we don't see things like that go on around here. We don't see if one of ours gets injured that they do a welcome home parade or anything.
Yeah. They took her right to the house.
We have a good turnout for, like, the Halloween, like your department does, and things like that. But we don't see that sort of outpouring, I guess you could say, when one of our own is down like that and they finally get to come home and everybody shows up in force.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very cool to see that. I'm glad you did the go live.
Yeah, I did that just to show what you're talking about, how several thousand people turned out up and down that road wishing her welcome home.
Right. And I'm sure
our deputies, state troopers, we had quite the mix there, and it was good to see. She is also a full-time medic for ambulance service down in the Quad Cities, and then volunteers her duties to the local fire department on top of it.
Wow. And I'm sure that all of your crew know that the service is appreciated, but it goes a long way sometimes to see that outpouring like that, because I'm sure there are some days that you guys are kind of going, oh, why did I choose this line of work? What am I doing this for?
We go out to help our neighbors in need. We always have. And she's an example. She's a go-getter and worked hard. But I got to hold the press. I just saw something here from RH. I'm officially a DoorDash driver. He said this ought to be fun.
Huh. Well, then my first question would be, is this DoorDash like you're going to run to McDonald's and pick up a Big Mac for somebody? Or is this DoorDash as in Bill just got done smoking up a nice beef roast and now he's delivering?
There you go. And Bob D is in the house. Welcome,
Hey,
Bob D.
welcome aboard, buddy. Nice to see you back again. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe we'll have to talk a little bit about gold again.
Yeah.
Bob loves his gold.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
there in the New England area prospecting.
That's a hard bit bug, that gold. Let me tell you. Can't shake it.
Yeah.
Always blame the one for it.
Well, for me, I blame metal detecting.
In general.
Yeah, I mean, because years ago, when I got into this, I thought, hey, it'll be something to do. I'll be able to find old coins. It'll be fun and great
Right.
exercise, they say. And my first day out, I don't think I really found a whole lot. Well, nothing to speak of. It might have been some wheat pennies or something, things of that nature. The things we get excited about for our
Right.
first. And the second day out, I hit a gold signet ring. and that was it. I was done. I was toast. Couldn't wait to find more. Got to find the gold. Got to find. I like the silver. I love the silver. Love the old coins. Really like the tokens. But man, nothing gets your blood flowing like a piece of gold.
Right. Yep. Gold ring, gold charm, gold nugget, gold coin. It comes. You'll find it eventually. Bob's saying 10th year detecting, still no gold coin. Well, it takes a while before the first gold coins come up. I'll tell you that.
Right, and it ain't from lack of trying, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Bob sees some good he uses some good machines. He's put up some videos of the places he's hunted. It's just, like the rest of us, you got to get your coil over it.
Yeah, and I've been fortunate several times, more than several times, and more than fortunate, blessed by finding a few, and it's just a long time between them. Barb even got a nice little $1 gold piece, and it took her forever to get that one. So hang in here, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Clark, how you doing? Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Checking in. Facebookers. Yeah.
Wow.
And he says he likes the red.
Yep, got to keep trying. I mean, I don't have a gold coin. Well, I've got a gold coin. Did I dig it? No, but I've got one. But that still doesn't stop me from looking for them. Sooner or later, I'm going to get my coil over it. I've found plenty of gold jewelry, and I'm okay with that. And I've been...
And most people, it took me quite a while, the first year I was using that whites, to really get what I considered something old. I mean, I was getting 40s and 50s, 60s, some silver, but I didn't really
and I want to break that 1800 mark.
Then I started figuring out we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the connectivity with people that we do that can help you. YouTube, and that can steer you the right way or the wrong way. You just got to wade through it.
Right. We had books, magazines, maybe a club if we were lucky.
So I joined I&I Club. I knew Ray Grip and joined the club and went to that and learned an awful lot more. I mean, you had Western Eastern Treasures, you had Treasure magazine and several others, but it really didn't go super in depth like they go today when you see an article online or something in one of the few trade magazines left, like American Digger. They're showing you what other people find, and now they're going into more in depth, but nobody was there. No, that's not the way you do it. Here, let me show you, and helping you out until you went into a club and started going out and learning them more. And I'd been to 1 or 2 club meetings, and I got out and I found a V-nickel, and I think it was about a 1908. I think I still got it in a card back there. And
see, now that's one to get excited about at that point.
That was the first one I found, and then it came a little better and a little faster, but I'd already found 2 gold rings.
Wow.
2 gold rings, and one was up near a playground area, and the other, through my wife's grandfather, had given me original maps of an old park and how it was laid out, and there used to be shoot to shoot on there, and that was like they pulled a rowboat up, tied it off, you got in it, and they cut it loose, and you went down and you hit the lake, shot you across, and they pull it back up, and I don't know what they charged, but right there is where I found the nickel. But down where the boat was, I'd found 2 gold rings.
Nice.
So
good job.
I was still. That was the days of the bottle caps. The pull tabs were coming out, but the bottle caps were around so thick it was crazy. And you dug a lot of those until you finally figured out on that meter where they worked and what they sounded like. You didn't have any readout, give me a rough idea, like on Equinox.
Yeah, you had to
12-14, man, that's a nickel.
if it crackled around the edge of the signal or something.
Right. And yeah, and the sensitivity, and then manual ground balancing. And that was always a trick to keep going. And you know, they always told you ground balance, ground balance, ground balance. You got to ground balance every so often. And at that time, you kind of did, even in the soils we have here. EFI wasn't even coined terminology. You knew if you got too close to a power line over your head, you had some interference, but it wasn't called EFI. You didn't have a machine. You hit 2 buttons and it went through a cycle. You held the coil up and boom, away you go. All that is advanced out of what we started with was a 10-turn tuner, and you had a nice meter, your volume. You tried to get your threshold set right, so it was just a little light in the ear, and then you went about your way. And some of those deep coins, by deep I mean 5 inches to 6 inches, maybe a little deeper. In the springtime, when it was nice moist ground, that meter just barely, and you got a little high and a low, you just a little bit of a race, so you dug it, and that's how you got the deeper ones. I didn't know that until the end of the first season I was hunting, that this is what we're looking.
Right. And isn't it crazy to think that back then everybody's going, oh yeah, that was a deep one. It was 5 inches deep.
Yeah.
And
the pinpointer was
deep.
The pinpointer was a brass rod. You went, you know, I'm hitting something. So you carefully open the hole up, and hopefully you didn't put a scratch across the coin that you just dug.
Well, the blunt screwdriver.
And the first Indian head I found that fall was a 1901, and I was just tickled to death. And then the next spring I got out, and we'd had our club meetings and went with it. Yeah, Barks concentric coils were a standard. They didn't have double D's at that time.
Nobody.
And ORHs reminded me to tell everybody the drift of the old machines. They'd get off, and you would have to recalibrate as best you can.
Yep. That was
half hour, maybe to an hour.
Actually, that was a big thing, and I'm sure you remember when that happened too. When Garrett came out with what they called zero drift technology.
Yep. And for a while, I tried a Garrett, and I can't remember the model number, BFO, the old beat frequency.
Beat frequency oscillation.
Yeah, and that was a tough one to wrap around.
Oh, yeah.
Click, 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 click. And you're going, oh, was that a target or not?
Yeah, target, hot rock, what? Something made it speed up.
I switched after a few years with the whites, and I did very well with it, to Compass. And Compass had come out with and
some good ones.
Unit that you did have discrimination, but the higher you want the discrimination, the more loss of depth you had. And then I bought a little AH Pro, a little backpacker.
The backpacker.
And that little machine, and still is, the ones that I know that are still working, pretty good little unit.
Yeah.
They really had a good discrimination in them. And light, they were really light. They were nice to run.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, kept moving with the technology. Of course, whites moved ahead. And I'd gotten the first Eagle, I think it was. And that was we had a digital readout. And we had a setup on it that wasn't just a gauge, but it was a digital screen. And you learn more about that, and you kept going along. So, and like I said, you didn't have the internet. You didn't have anybody but your buddies down at the club that you call, talk to, and say, I got this. What do you do? Or you try to give out, work with each other back and forth. And that's the interconnectivity of detecting too, is the clubs and the club outings and that kind of stuff. But today you've got it all at your fingertips. Everything's right there. You can go into YouTube and find a million and one how to set up your Equinox, or how to set up your Garrett, or how to use the Apex, or how to do this by the companies themselves. Not just John Doe down the road that's had a detector 2 years and because of the newness and stuff.
Right, and thinks you're a self-proclaimed expert on everything.
Right. And but it's out there. You can find it easily. And a lot of this separation, I still blame on COVID at this point.
That's true. But it sure did drive a lot of newcomers into the hobby.
Yeah. Well, Scott McClory made her in. Hey, Scott.
I see that. Welcome aboard,
Mark
Scott.
Waltrip was in.
Yeah, welcome to Mark, Bill Digger.
Okay, now I know Bill Hayes and myself have been detecting a long time. Is there anybody out there with 50 years?
Ooh, that's easy. If you ask some people, they think I started in 1853.
I know. I know. Yeah, the 8 Pro Bill had the auto tune. I use that. But it would shift, and you had to pay attention to what it was doing if you got over some really funky stuff. Okay, Barks has got 30 years. Mike, you got 60 or 70 years in?
See, when Ronnie was dropping them coins back in the 1850s, I didn't need a metal detector. It was following.
Yeah. And, you know, he buried his marbles and still looking for them. He buys all he can find. And let's see, Tim Blank, Illinois Digger, he's got 15. Clay's got, I'll bet Clay's got 18 years in. I know he's got Ohio Relic Hunter, 78.
Teeth. He got his teeth on detecting, basically.
We'll start in 75. I really started well in late 72. We've got a guy in the club that started in 1964, building his own Heath kit and using Minesweepers.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. So, Don Finch.
I was going to say.
Ray started in 69. He knew some guys, and he's one of the founding fathers of the Illinois Iowa Treasure Hunters. Tom Clark, 10.
Right.
Mike Lockament, 10 plus, 20. Thomas. Cool. The old timers quarter here.
Yeah, it's making some of us feel old.
Scott says he had 5 years in there. That's 5. That's good. 4 years.
Hey. And he's done good in the 5 years that he's been in.
Mark said he started in the early 70s. You got a lot of knowledge floating around in this group. So if you younger ones have questions, don't be afraid to ask.
Was that the 19
newbies aren't newbies?
Or the 1870s?
Could be.
And
cool. 10 years for Barb, she thinks. Cool.
Well, things have been pretty hectic for her lately, too. So
she's got her hands full, too.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a lot of good folk in here that got a lot of good experience.
Yeah.
And 5s, that's good. So, don't be afraid to share your knowledge with people. They like that. And it keeps them from leaving potholes. Make sure they get permission.
Yeah. And one commonality that you'll see with all of these people, whether they've got 2 or 3 years in or 40 some years in, the one common thread is that if you ask them, they'd probably say, my biggest regret is I didn't start sooner.
Yep. Yep. I don't have any, I have no regrets. I have no regrets like that. I started 72, bought a White's Coinmaster 4, had a lot of fun with that. Listened to Ray and some of the boys in the club and moved along and started selling them. Had a great interest in it. Got into more heavier duty prospecting, but I continued to detect, just not as much as I had. But then I started detecting more with gold machines, and that's how I ran into Mine Lab stuff so early and started using that. So I've had a great run of it, and I still love to hunt nuggets. I mean, that's all metal detecting and machinery, and I've done a little bit of all that, and I ran into some great people that way. So it's been a good hobby. And so getting Frank Juarez, 29, started in 1995. Frank could just about have a detector museum, I think.
He could just about have a map archival museum.
Right. Now, Scott asks the question, was it easier back in the 70s to find tons of stuff because so few Americans were diggers? Yes, it was.
Well, that is true, yes.
I mean,
back then, it was nothing for them to come home. Like, we come home with $5, $6, $8, $10 worth of clad in our pouch. Yeah. But it was nothing back then for folks to come home with $5, $6, $8 worth of silver base in their pouch.
Mm-hmm. There were days I would go down to, we'd go to Davenport. Maybe day off, I take Jill. She liked to shop the downtown Davenport, get different stuff, fill the tank up, whatever. She'd drop me off. There used to be the Royal American Shows. That was a big park area down along the river in Davenport, Iowa. But above that, they had parking areas. And the old parking meters were in the grass. You could work them parking meter areas and come up with 50s, 60s, 40s, dimes, quarters, pretty good handful. And I'd go to the coin dealer once a month, and I'd take a bunch of them in, and I didn't sell them. I would get enough to get a Morgan silver dollar occasionally and put it away. I'd take them a bunch of dimes and trade for a nice Morgan, or I would trade for something else that caught my eye. And then it spiked. I still had quite a bit of silver, and it spiked in 1980 thanks to the Hunt brothers. Yeah, Dad and I were talking. We were following it. Dad was watching it close, and he had a rather sizable bag of halves and quarters and that. And I had a fair amount, and I had my gold rings that I'd found 8 years worth of them. I had quite a few of them, and I took them in and I sold them. I mean, I was getting, what did I get? $3. I think I was getting, when I went down there in the depth, $3.90 a piece for them.
Wow.
For a dime. And there was a narrow window, and then all of a sudden they got cornered for trying to spike the market. And I don't think they well thought that, because I don't think they knew how much silver was out there. And the market got flooded. It started crashing, and it crashed. If you ever look at the schematic of that, it had made a pretty meteoric rise. Very little time, couple weeks, and it just crashed. Almost went all the way back down to original $3.35. And gold had been up to almost 800 briefly, and it crashed back. And those that got in the window on sales, I mean, we were lined up out of the coin shop in Davenport. They were the best buyers down there.
Oh yeah, down the street and around the block in a lot of places.
It was backed up. You stood there and waited an hour, and they had rows of people, and I took it all in and sold it. And I'd done well. I can't remember the exact amount, but there was a fair amount there. And back in 1980, when you walked out with a couple grand in your pocket, you did good.
Very well.
You did good. So, and our gold tanked a little bit here past couple days, but not much. Silver's down $1 or $2, but you know, the stock market tanked. So, Bidenomics, right? That's a crock of crap. Man. Not good. But anyway, we'll leave that alone. But that's what happened. But there were times, and Don Finch and I've talked, where you go out in a day, like we were just saying, I pick up 35, 40 silvers.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Halves. A lot of halves. I was always surprised about the number of halves. It always seemed it was dimes, of course, the number one find in silver. They were easily lost. Quarters.
And it still is.
Yeah, and I picked up silver dollars back then. Peace and Morgan, they were still trading.
Yeah. And a lot of people wonder, why is it that we see so many silver dimes? Well, the halves and dollars and quarters were easier to find.
So, and if you started getting really old stuff in an area, you kept working it. I had an area I couldn't wait. We had a rotating shift, and then I would have 4.5 days off. Add a day of vacation or two, and I could go down and hunt the stomping grounds around Jill's family's place down in southeast Iowa, over in the northeast Missouri, a little further down, and hit those places. I did well. A lot of silver, a lot of old silver, a lot of Barber and seededs.
Right. And another important point there too is that back then, unlike today, it was a renewable resource, so to speak.
Yeah.
People were dropping them.
Yeah.
Today you it's gone.
Change at the bank. You got sometimes half silver.
Yeah. Now the occasions of that happening are extremely far and few between.
Yes, they are. So, so today you have to think outside the box. Work areas didn't get worked hard. Fields are a big thing because fields, if they had a lot of traffic, if they had a lot of activity at one time in there over many years, you get a lot of coins, i.e. England. Some of the areas in around us had a lot of traffic all the time and workers in there. It was all done by hand, and you find a lot of stuff in those fields. Every time they plow, they bring up a little more. Now, deep plowing is kind of went to the wayside, but cultivation still kicks them up in that. But I'm headed for England there this fall. I'm going to go again.
Right. And hopefully, it's been a minute, but hopefully you're due for another gold coin.
I hope so. I'm going to England. They find a bunch of them over there. That amazes me. The number of gold found in England, because of the period of time from Saxon and Celtic and all the way forward up to, turn of the century, teens, the 20s. They lost a lot of gold coin.
Right. And when the hordes come up, it never ceases to amaze me. They're out there, but it still just amazes me when they come up, where you just kind of look and shake your head. You're like, wow, wow. That's all I can say.
And Scott brings up a point. He's talking about he's coin roll hunted. He said $1,000 in quarters, dimes, nickels, halves, and from the banks in the area, and not one silver. Travis will bring home a few rolls of halves, and we've only gotten a few. Now I went and bought myself. I thought I hit the jackpot. I got one roll with 2 Kennedy Silvers in it, 64s. That's the only one I've found other than some 40%ers. And then Travis one day, he opened the roll up, shows it to me, and in the middle is gold. We pulled it out. It's a 1964 gold, but it's not the real one. Someone gold plated it.
Ah,
It's gold plated. We checked that. So, yeah, it was kind of neat. But other than that, I agree with you, Scott. And I'm out in the area of small banks that do a lot of trade. Now, I have been called by a friend at the bank saying, get in here. I got some rolls for you. And somebody cashed in some stuff, and I bought the rolls from him over across the counter. And there was Washington quarters and a few marks and that kind of stuff. They brought money in and didn't pay attention to what they cashed in. Down at the gas station.
This seems
Yeah.
almost unheard of, but I was talking to a guy once about, you get tired of detecting, go and do some coin roll hunting. And he's like, what's this that you're talking about? I explained it to him, and he's like, I like the sound of that. I'm gonna go down to the bank right now and see if I can get any. And he come back. He had like $50 worth of halves, rolls of halves. And these were hand wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
And he's opening up these rolls, and he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of exciting, but at the same time, it's pretty dull and mundane. I feel like I'm wasting my time." And he picked up that last roll and unwrapped it, and you talk about a jaw hitting the floor. Half of that roll was silver.
Cool. It does happen. And Scott brought this up because he's watching the YouTubers. They're opening up boxes. Of course, they buy boxes at a time. And they'll get, maybe like what you said, they'll find a roll like that or a whole bunch. I've never found a whole bunch at one time other than on the deal where somebody called me. And that's the way it goes. And our gas station in Cordova, one day I went in, bought some stuff. She handed me change back, and I looked down, and they were Washington silver quarters, 40s, 50s. I looked at them, and I looked at her, and I said, hey, I'm going to need, how much change you got for quarters? So I handed her $5 and wiped out her quarters and got another $3. They'd spent it. Somebody come in and spent their silver there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And people may think it sounds entirely insane, but I have seen occasions where people have went in, say, your gas station, Walmart, whatever. Kids got into dad's coin collection or whatever. And they're buying packs of cigarettes with Morgan silver dollars.
Ooh. Ouch.
So you say, and back then, let's say a pack of cigarettes was, I don't know, $6. Well, they'd give them 6 Morgans. Most of the cashiers, they knew what that was, so they're gladly taking it.
Yeah.
It just, wow.
And
have them now.
It. So, but if you do your research, get out, find some fields, hit them, have a good time. I mean, that's the way to do it. Find the old, do a little research on the maps. They'll tell you a lot. Look for those old schools that are no longer there, those type of places. You may not find huge amounts, but what you find is going to really maybe be nice or old.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's right. I stumbled across one last year. I haven't got lucky like I did last year. And we got into that one yard that used to be kind of a mixture of pleasures. and they sold
Oh,
back.
yeah. Hit it with the 800, the 900, and the Manicore.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's pretty thin in there. I was there right after the rains again, and I did get another Indian out of it. Nothing else, and this was working the Manicore with the stock oil.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, not a big area, but it had a lot of stuff in it.
Hey, sometimes those small areas, I like to call them sleeper sites because nobody gives them any thought. Such a small area. How could there be anything there? There
Just
couldn't be.
watered. Yep. And Shannon likes fields because she can dig craters.
Well, yeah, that would be a good reason to like fields, I guess.
Right. So, you know,
Or woods.
woods. They just tore out a big timber to the south of me. I'm going down there tomorrow and see if I can talk to them about it. I don't know what they're going to do with the property. I don't know who owns it, but I'm going to try to get in there and detect that area because it's right on the edge of Port Byron. It just seems to scream I need to be hunted. So if I can get in there, I'll be doing a little hunting there because we're supposed to only be in the 70s this week. Did I lose you, Josh?
No, I was reading the chat there about somebody finding 10 rolls of all 40% halves or dollar halves, I believe it was. Yeah.
Have any of you out there with your 40% halves ever had anybody? I mean, you try to turn them in and get the right percentage out of them. Anybody kind of back off on those? Don't want them? That's a question I have for you.
That's a good question. I mean,
they don't want to deal with the 40% stuff.
Right, and I know Barb, she sees plenty of silver halves, and she doesn't like the 40% silvers herself. I mean, I'll take them, but
even the silver, the war nickels, there's not many that want to take them unless they're like encapsulated proof.
Yeah, but then you're talking they want them because of numismatics value, not because of silver content.
Because I use my silver nickels in an old slot machine. I've got them in there, and I've got a 46 Mills slot machine, nickel one, and that's what I got. Some old buffs in there and some V nickels and those 40%ers that I've found, and I've never tried to turn them in.
Well, gives you plenty of change to play the slots with.
Yeah. Well, that one did duty out in the Cordova area during the post-war years and the big push to shut down the gambling in Cordova because they had a couple casinos up here and that were out in the country. And when the Quad City bars closed, it got real lively out here because they could stay open till 6 a.m. They only had to close 1 hour a day from 6 to 7 to clean it, and they were open again.
Wow.
And they raided them, and they had malls in mid-50s. Sheriff Blackie Strout was his name, vowed to shut down all the gambling in Rock Island County. By God, he got her done. They dumped the slot machines in the river.
Boy, it'd be nice to find them now.
I got a general idea where they're at. Dad even told me where they were at, but the problem is it's 25 foot of pretty good fast water, and it's a clear channel, and the barges like traveling that.
Ooh.
And getting salvage rights is tough.
Now we've got, I guess you could say, a little bit of low-key hubbub. I know of a location that when they were doing a street project, all of the meters at the time
Mm-hmm.
got pulled up and dumped into a waterway. Our waterway isn't near that deep, near that fast, and I keep threatening one of these days I may go fishing.
That could be cool.
'Cause
Hello, Nelson.
I've got a pretty good idea where they may be. Now, whether or not there's anything in them, who knows? That remains to be seen, but it sure would be interesting to see.
Yep. So,
And it happens like that in a lot of areas.
well, this,
Stuff like that goes on and has went on in everybody's area than what they may realize.
cool. Bill Hayes is telling you to do magnet fishing, Josh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I could try to go magnet fishing, but who knows how tangled up these are or anything.
Yeah.
Might just be better off to to go in and just feel around.
So there's a lot of places to look for things like that, Josh. And the raid up here on, well, there was the Shamrock and the Bucket of Blood and the Oasis and Saddle Club and these other places. Saddle Club had a known casino. It's called the Chicken Coop. It was out back of the big restaurant. And it's on the river. Guys that come in by boat, they go up and gamble in there. And they're the ones that the Legina family and the Baumgartners, they had all the slot machines on this side. And a guy that lived here ran all the slots in Scott County and Clinton County. And he lived up here. And, yeah, they had a regular network. And
Quite the happening area.
yeah, well, they had a mole. And he'd call and tell them that they're planning a raid, and they go clean all the slot machines out and the gambling equipment. And there was a boxcar in the timber about a half a mile from where I live now. I can walk you right to where it was at. And that's where they go in there. There was no road up in there at that time. They put all that stuff in there, lock it up, and when the heat fell off, they started trickling it back out.
Right. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. The old boys. So Cordova has a book out called Cordova Then and Now. And it's a nice little history of the town and the area. But it was written by the ladies at the Baptist Church. And it's a nice book. I want to write one, Cordova, how it really was. And I've got
there you go.
That kind of stuff. And there was a strip out here along Route 84 that had, 7 businesses out there, 6 or 7, that catered to everybody, gambling needs, drinking needs, and other needs. And
You put that.
Yeah, pretty nefarious group. And it was a lot of fun listening to the old guys talk about what went on up here, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that just kind of goes back to sometimes one of your best resources of information are the old timers, the people that have been around there all their lives, and they can tell you things they've seen and things that their grandparents handed down to them. And I mean, I've heard some stories about places around here where it's like, wow.
Well, one of the old boys I used to love to listen to, And I tried with the VHS to have him sit down and tell stories. He would not do it. He didn't want to be on film with it. He didn't want that. And I tried to get him to record with me some of the history. His name was Marquette Lancaster. He was out of Albany, Illinois. He ran away at 13 years old and became a cabin boy on a stern wheeler. And he moved all the way up to a captain on a riverboat, and then switched over to the big diesel tows and ran the river all his life from Minneapolis to New Orleans. And he ran the river before the lock and dams were in, and that guy had some interesting tales to tell about running the Mississippi River in the days of steam. And I just love listening to him. And then he talked about all the little blowhole towns that they would stop at, other than places like Davenport or Clinton or the bigger ones, but there were smaller ones picking up passengers, spending the night there, that kind of stuff. And it was pretty cool to listen to him and pick up the tales of the river.
Right. Yeah.
He always said, don't go digging up the river bottom. You'll find things you don't want to find.
Yeah. 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 Good point. Point well taken. Yeah. I mean, and it's true. I mean, you guys have seen it. You guys have, I'm sure you guys have been in there before looking for a vehicle and maybe find another one and go,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. Just not that long ago, we dove on a wreck with a body in it and found another truck that had been there since the 30s. It broke through the ice while they were driving, and only one guy in the town could remember the story of it, and it was a Model T truck, and it went through the ice. And it's laying on the bottom of the river.
wow.
We were using side scan sonar. You could see a vehicle out a little bit. The diver went down. He come up. He says, "There's actually a boat trailer hooked to it." So yeah, that was just a few years back, 3 in fact.
Wow.
Shannon, most people do not detect underwater in the Mississippi. The Mississippi is a dark water river. So detecting down there is a challenge. Recovering things is a big challenge. It's also a pretty heavy duty current.
Yeah, current, undertow, and the water. To detect down there underwater, you've just about got to be certifiable. Not certified, certifiable.
I've still got my diving license, but I never did the dark water side of it. I just did not like that.
Right, and you know, you and I both have talked to a number of divers, and they're like, "What? Dark water? No, thank you."
Nope. That's, you go down, you literally don't see your hands this far out. So when you're looking, and even the light just back at you, you have to come face to face with things.
Yeah, and sometimes the things you come face to face with ain't what you want to see. Oh, but it is interesting.
Oh yeah, it is. Well, buddy, I'll tell you what, we blew in an hour.
It is pretty deep.
Yeah, and one thing Scott brings up, even in Wisconsin river waters, unless it's been like flooding and that, they kind of clear up. But when you get down, and he brings a point up, after 10 feet deep, it's black. The light filtration. No filtration.
Huh. Our mud puddle does that at about 2 feet.
So, but you go over into Iowa to Clear Lake, you can see just like the 20 feet. Boom.
Yeah, it's named after a reason.
Yes, it is. So
Yeah.
anyway, you guys, we blew our hour, and
We did. And how? Man, time flies.
yeah, it does. So we got to get Clay on, Kevin, if you're still hanging with us. I see you're still in there. I got to get a call out to him. What are we doing Sunday?
Yeah, we'll get Clay and Kevin both on, maybe.
Yeah. Think about it, Barks.
Yes.
Think about he's umping again, so I don't know what he'll have Sunday evening.
Right.
No, I'll call you.
Think about it. Shoot Chuck a message. Shoot me a message.
Yep.
Whatever. We can get it done. We can make it happen. Maybe we make it happen this Sunday. If not, hey, we'll do it next Sunday. That's fine too. I still have not fixed the audio pickup from Sunday with the calling line, but yeah, we'll see what we can do, and either way, we'll figure out something.
Kevin's going to give me a call tomorrow night.
Link.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to give you a call tomorrow night?
And I'll get with you, and maybe we can conference it, and we'll figure something out. We'll get the boys on. And just to let you know, Kevin, our trip to Alaska, I think is totally 100% booked right now. I got 15 people, and that's it, buddy. So
barely made it in.
Yeah. Well, Kevin and Clay made the decision at the meeting the other night. Said we're going. I said okay, and Kevin said Clay was a little apprehensive of it, and I said the only thing you got to do is dress warm, wear plenty of gear for wet weather, and if it's warm like it was, you can take off the extra layers. And it was dry, and it was really nice. So they're still getting a lot of rain up there. They've got a lot of flooded rivers around Nome. So everybody have a good night. Get out and find a bucket lister. I'm going to try to get on this property they just cleared of all the timber and see if I can dig up something decent.
Well, if you do, you'll have to let us know.
I will. If you see a go live from a tore up timber, it's me.
Maybe we see a go live of a gold coin.
Oh, well, that wouldn't bother me.
Right.
A bit.
That was good.
Ron Guinazzo, because he's never found an American U.S. gold. Never. And I kind of throw that in his face once in a while. I've got a few. But he's got skaters and all the foreign gold.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though.
It's a gold coin to me. I don't care where they made it. It's gold.
Always funny to see him talk about how many gold coins he's got, and then you go, you want to talk about gold nuggets?
Yeah.
He shuts up kind of fast.
Well, he's got some dandy nuggets now. He's made a couple trips pretty good. Well, he's doing all right with that, and he's gotten one really good one. He went on a trip to Gaines Creek when that was running and got one or two nice ones there, but he's starting to get better ones all the way along now with me. So he got a real nice chispa this year, and it's beautiful. So quartz and gold.
So, see, that means you can say, I taught him everything he knows.
I'm going to tell him that. Tim. Now, Tim, I did. So it's been a good time. Tim Russian. So
there you go.
Everybody have a great week. Stay safe. Go find something cool. Bring it to the show. Let us know about it.
You enjoy the evening, Chuck.
You all too. Have a good one, Josh, Tam. Bye.
Okay, so as I did mention earlier, I guess I can thank Barb for this. I had put some thought in the past couple of days on where is the fly in the ointment as far as the call in. I mean, people can call in, they can talk to me, I can talk to them, they can hear me, I can hear them, you guys can hear everybody. But if Chuck's on, they can't hear him. And I thought, when I looked at things, I'm going, hey, I got a great solution. This is going to be an easy, simple fix. And then I was talking to Barb earlier, and I was like, yeah, tonight we're going to be testing lines again, because I got to check and see what that glitch was. But I got it figured out. It's going to be no problem. And then I thought again, and I'm going, wait a minute, wrong direction. Not going to work. Gonna have to figure out a different path. And things have been crazy with my phone all afternoon, into even right up to 15 minutes before the show. So suffice to say, we did not get things resolved yet. But we'll see what happens. I mean, that's all we can do. Either way, we do still have, we'll use the call-in lines, and we do still have the link where you can link in, which if we get Kevin and Clay both on, I mean, that's one I'm sure they're probably going to want to link in. And I'm sure you folks are probably going to want them to link in, because you want to see them on camera. Speaking of which, I did happen to get the chance to talk to Barb a little bit. The other night, I'll say. I mean, my days are running together right now. Everything's just been so hectic. But I did happen to get the chance to talk to her, and happen to mention to her that, there are many reasons why I don't appear on camera. One of them is obviously because if I do, chances are good it's going to butcher the audio until I can get another system set up that will better handle everything. And the way the studio's set up, I mean, you folks aren't going to see much anyway, other than the big boom mic or the mixer or the top of my head, or, who knows? I mean, the only person that really gets a good shot of the studio is Bill, because he's got the link to the in-studio cam. I'm joking. Either way, and the show got off to a little bit of a rocky start there. Trying to take care of some things on this end that I normally do, that I was having to do last minute. I almost had a boo-boo there, and I almost dropped the feed for the show into Metal Detecting Central Illinois instead of Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound. So Mike almost had a surprise. He'd liable to have looked at me and said, "What are you thinking? That's it. You're fired." Who knows? I don't know. Either way, though, speaking of which, make sure and check out Metal Detecting Central Illinois if you have not already. Great group of folks. And sometime back, we had did an episode, a live stream, on the 97-year-old 10-carat Victorian Darling infant ring that was found, returned. The audio for that episode was pretty much unusable, we'll say. And I did mention that sooner or later in the future, we would have the story up and the photos and all that. Yada, yada. Well, those are now up. I'm sure people have seen them, seen the reels, whatever. If you haven't, it's kind of like the condensed version of the show, only without the hiccups and everything. It's It's got everything right there in a nutshell within 2 paragraphs. Very well written, and we can thank Tam for that, because I figured if I tried to do it speech to text, when I write up these posts, usually I'll do them speech to text, and then I'll send them over to Tam, because she can, check it for typos, grammatics, punctuation, whatever. English, well, I can speak English just fine, but grammatically, maybe writing isn't necessarily my strong suit sometimes. We'll put it that way. So she'll look it over, hey, you might want to take this out or put this in or word it this way, things like that. And that's great. It's always good to have somebody to bounce it off of. And I told her, I was like, well, you've got probably the other parts of the backstory, or more of the backstory than what I do. So you've got the whole story. Just throw it up, something nice and short. Let me know if you need any other information. I can get it to you. And she went ahead and typed it up real quick, sent it over to me. We got it posted, got the photos up there. Thanks to those who reacted to it, commented, things like that. Thanks to Tam for writing that up. So it only took us about 2 months to get it done, but now I'm able to get those items off of my phone as well. They've been posted into Facebook and Reels and stuff like that for posterity. And for me, it's on to the next one. And hopefully it's on to the next one for all of you folks as well. Once again, thanks to all the mods. Thanks for everyone for dropping by. If you enjoyed it, make sure and throw us a like. You can follow us here, Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound Facebook group, Beyond Sight and Sound page, the wonderful podcast distribution services. You all know where to find us. We're out of here. Have a wonderful evening.
We sure are glad you found us here tonight. Thanks for dropping by and joining in. If you like metal detecting, treasure hunting, gold prospecting, or even entertaining discussion, check us out Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite podcast distribution services.